Hi there. Let's talk October energy. September was quite intense and heavy for the majority of people. I've yet to meet someone who moved through that time unscathed or unbothered. But such is eclipse season, and now we are taking the shadows, the self-doubts, the fears, the people-pleasing programs that were highlighted during September, and we're actually able to do something about that now. We're actually able to see the way forward, because eclipse season purposely does create a fog. There's a fog-like energy around the unconscious stuff that's coming up, that's being revealed to us at that time. It's not a time of action or manifestation. It's a time of being and a time of revelation and seeing. So October is a revival. There's a rejuvenating energy to this month. Now, yes, it's a calmer energy, thank God. It's a gentler energy, and the muddy waters of the last few months is definitely clearing. However, what I will suggest to you is, my angels have been saying, take the rest and take the energetic soothing balm of October, because November, December, but especially November, let's just say this year of 2025 is going to end as it began, with a bang. It's going to end with a sonic boom energy. That doesn't mean that's not a negative concept. It doesn't mean that it's going to impact us in a negative way. But suffice to say, gather up your soul energy in October so that you are better prepared and have stored chi there to deal with whatever surfaces in November. So we are looking at people-pleasing programs being totally decimated, especially in the high sensitive community, empaths, starseeds, those of us who are very connected to our psychic being. You're also going to see more and more people coming online, as they say, or awakened from a psychic point of view, in that you're going to see people who've never mentioned or ever had or knew they had psychic abilities suddenly declaring that they've connected to something deeper in themselves. And of course, this adds on to your own psychic skill set. So either you will be starting some kind of study that enhances your work life, your soul role, your hate the word career, but you know what I mean. You might also be expanding the creativity and approach in your work. And you'll also be more exposed to meeting other like-minded people who you'll come together in an interconnectedness for collaboration. So October is a great time to collaborate, to meet and join forces with other starseeds, psychics, empaths, high sensitives, or just people that you gel with, you know, that you just have that click, that chemistry with, which is wonderful. October will be quite a tough love type of energy, or a tough love mother, meaning what has been discovered during eclipse season can't be put back in the box. It's like the genie's out of the bottle, you can't put it back in. The toothpaste is out of the tube, right? Try and put that toothpaste back in that tube. You can't. What's been seen cannot be unseen. What's been heard cannot be unheard. There's truths there that are demanding our attention and demanding decisions and choices in where we put things, where we place people, and whether we engage and invest into situations or jobs or roles, relationships, or not. And whichever way you go with that, whether you say yes or no, the impact of those choices is setting you on a timeline in a very dramatic way for the next 7 years. So think about where you were 7 years ago around this time. Think about the people you were connected to. You might be completing a cycle with those people, or perhaps you started a job at that time and there's some change or shift or tweaks to what you started creatively, romantically, personally, professionally 7 years ago. I also kept getting in the last few weeks, and this will only apply to some of you, but there's some connection to 2007 and a big whoosh of life force energy that came into your life at that time. It was a very inspired time for you. If you're connecting with this message, this is for you. And there's a connection with what you began, what you started, and what roles you stepped into at that time, and how you are taking that up a level now in your current life. So there's an interesting 7 energy here, and this is I'm just connecting the dots with this right now. 2007 and 7-year cycle. So 7 years ago, like 2018, what was happening in your life? What were you doing? Maybe you were starting a whole new 7-year cycle then, and you are integrating the life lessons from the past 7 years now. Self-doubts, the small self, what I call the inferior ego, which is the little voice that says, oh, I couldn't do that. I'll never learn it. I'll never get that. I couldn't pass that exam. I couldn't take on that job. I couldn't, like that situation or that person is out of my league. Whatever self-doubting, shadow self, small self that has been coming up for you. Maybe it's just louder than normal. Maybe your health is not as good, or your energy levels weren't great the last few weeks, and this small self is getting louder and louder. October is a great time, and we have great support to really decide to embrace and love that shadow, embrace that inner child that has no confidence, and to gently explain to them, communicate that even though They have been running this program since probably childhood, your teen years, or maybe something happened in your late 20s and it just, you never got back on the horse from a confidence level, from a self-esteem level. Spirit is really giving us the master degree level of integrating now and saying you've had lots of time in the last 5 years to sit and mull and navel gaze with this wounded inner child, but it's time to take the bandages off. It's time to see the heart is mended and to say, you know what, even though I'm scared, even though it's rocking my nervous system, I'm going to go ahead anyway and I'm going to do the thing. So, we have the excuse during eclipse season. We have the excuse to take it easy. It's not a time of action usually, unless it's an immediate call to action and you really have no choice. But October is saying your time is up. The jig is up now. Like, you have the information, you know what's real, you know where you are, and you know where you want to go. And if you don't know where you want to go, if you're not clear about your desired destination, the next few weeks will be calling that. That's the tough love, mother, father, God energy that I feel is coming in. And I'm just getting an image of that piece in the book Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes, when she talks about the mother wolf seeing that her cubs have gotten too big and she kicks them off the teeth. They're trying to suckle from her. And she's saying, no. My job is done. It's up to you now to find your own sustenance, your own nourishment. I've played my role here. And you're going to see that in your own life. There's going to be people you love dearly that you're so in the habit of rescuing them. Maybe there's a codependent pattern there. Maybe you're the person that is so used to running to that person for support because your own wounded self-child is denying doing the work, or you doing the work with the child, to say we need to heal this lack of confidence. We need to look at where we've kept ourselves in a very small container. And that's a big one for October. You've outgrown the container that you're in. You've outgrown this limited space, this box, this container. And it's getting real uncomfortable. And if you didn't feel the complete discomfort of that at the end of September with that solar eclipse, I'd say that's going to be coming through loud and strong in the next 3 months. 2025, a 9-year, it's about completion. It's about endings. It's about wrapping things up and moving on. And for the little tests where we've dragged our feet, we really are going to feel the rub of that container being so uncomfortably small and restrictive. And we're either going to curl up and die in that small space that does not fit us anymore, that we've outgrown, or we're going to bust out of that box and we're going to say, okay, I accept and surrender to where my life has brought me right now. And I'm going to work with life. I'm going to work with the energies of change. And I can tell you, whoever you were back in January 25, you will not and are not the same person by January 2026. It's like I spoke of in my recent videos about the timelines, about the harmonic convergence in the late 80s and how the world was meant to end. There was a reset then that impacted and really kicked in 2012. That's when a lot of people woke up and had a mass awakening. And then we had an extension of that in 2020. So it's been a lot of information. It's been very convoluted because we've had all these different branches of timelines. And it's caused a friction. It's caused a malaise, a heaviness, even a manic mental health side to it, because nothing has been stable. Nothing has been secure and solid for a while now. And some of us who have been living in chronic uncertainty, like myself, it's like what Gabor Mate says. There's only so much uncertainty. Uncertainty is one of the top stressors. Like not having security, not knowing where your life is going to be, feeling unrooted. These are some of the things that many of us have had to engage with and dig deep into to stabilize ourselves. And another big theme for October, I want to leave you with this, is leaning into yourself, but more so leaning into the Christ consciousness within, the God self within. I spoke about how in September and in the recent energies, we've really been shown how we have placed unconsciously, like it's shocking how unconscious this stuff is, guys. External power. We've put our power externally. We've told ourselves, when I get that master's degree, when I, bulk up and put on the muscle or lose the weight or achieve XYZ outside of myself. People who think when they get a nose job, it's going to suddenly make all their problems go away. It's this false narrative of the ego and of those who are in absence of the light, keeping us distracted from actually leaning within, going into the center, the God force, the Christ consciousness. And by the way, the Christ consciousness was created to assist mankind, to assist humanity, to be a bridge for us. So lean into that. I know things are still feeling very raw right now for many of us, but we need to lean more into our absolute spiritual foundation of faith and knowing and trust that even though things can look a certain way, you don't have to believe the smoke and mirrors and the illusions. They are distractions being pumped all around you, like smoke and mirrors, so that you don't go inside and actually do the work of leaning into that Christ-centered consciousness. So don't be afraid of everything that's collapsing, because I know after September, many of you are there with your sweeping brush going, oh my God, there's a load of cracked, shattered illusions and life structures here that I have to sweep up. But don't worry, because whatever has fallen was not built on solid, strong foundations. And you can trust that and you can know that. And that's the beauty of eclipse season. It really does a lot of the work for us. And it shows us things, even though it can be a sharp blade, the truth, In the long run, it's a clean cut and it sets you free. So lean into the Christ consciousness. Call upon the Christos and ask and receive, and know that the small self It can't survive in this fifth dimensional multiverse that we are now part of, citizens of. Not just Earth, but the multiverse, the multi-dimensional you. And that's a lot to wake up to. That's a lot to integrate. But that's what we're doing, my friend. This is what we're doing. So thank you, as always, for sharing this space with me. I so appreciate you. And the light in me recognizes the light in you. If you appreciate this kind of content, show me by giving me a like, thumbs up, and subscribe for more. Namaste.